segment of VH1 is brought to you by Mazda Cars and Trucks. It just feels right.
Here we go!
Don't miss the first leg of Anita Baker's 1990 summer tour.
VH1's Artist Spotlight featuring Phil Collins is brought to you tonight by Mazda Cars and Trucks. It just feels right.
Hello, everyone. A highly popular rock star is asking you to take a minute from all this fun and excitement. But I'm afraid he couldn't be here tonight, and so you've got me. One more night, one more night. Oh, how embarrassing. I'm a drummer. I write songs and I sing them. I'm not a great singer. I'm not a great songwriter. I'm certainly not a great pianist. This is all me. Take it or leave it. Okay, well, let's get on with it.
All right, Phil, no question about it. The busiest rock star of the past 10 years has to have been Phil Collins. He's done it all, from Genesis to solo artist to drummer, producer, actor, and all-around good guy. He's been everywhere.
Well, I was first given a drum when I was 3, but that was just a regular drum, you know, every kid gets. And then when I was 5 years old, because I'd taken to this drum, my uncles made me a kit of drums, which was on a crisscross bit of wood with poles sticking up out of each corner, and a triangle hanging on one, and a cymbal hanging on another, and a couple of drums. And I used to sit in the living room with my mum and dad and play along with the TV. I had a drive, you know, I mean, I had a drive to want to do what I did. You know? And I never had ambitions, I just had this drive to be a drummer.
That drive took Phil to several years of session work around London until he answered an ad in a British music paper calling for, quote, a drummer sensitive to acoustic music.
Yeah, we arrived and I was too early to audition. So they said, do you want to go for a swim? So I thought, swimming pool? Yeah, that's fantastic. So I went for a swim, and while I was swimming, all the other drummers were auditioning, and I learnt by their mistakes what I was supposed to do.
Thanks to that bit of eavesdropping, Phil got a job with Genesis. And with a string of hit albums, they established themselves as the premier British art rock band of the 70s. But in 1975, as Genesis appeared to be on the verge of worldwide recognition, lead singer Peter Gabriel decided to quit the band.
I wanted the situation where I could follow other interests and do other projects.
The Office went through loads and loads of tapes, you know, the ones that were obviously no-hopers, they kind of rejected, and then they sent the rest down to us.
And we had a lot of weirdos, because of Pete and all the costume things.
Yes.
But all sort of weird photographs would appear of you know, guys in sort of odd masks and things, you know.
And we listened to them, and from that we selected about half a dozen people who we actually auditioned in person.
We auditioned many people, and actually took a guy into the studio, only to find out that really the guy we wanted was the girl next door.
We'd always thought that Phil would probably sing some of the softer things, because he had done in the past, and we thought we could increase that share, you know. But we weren't too sure how he'd cope with the screaming stuff.
I never really liked the idea of being a singer in the group, to be honest. I just did it because nobody else came up. You know, we couldn't get anybody else, so I did it.
He was more worried about the talking in between songs and the singing, right? And he had his little notes, right?
Hello, everybody.
What's in his head doing that, right? He was sort of reading what he'd written down, right? I'll never forget that.
Phil managed to get over his nervousness and began to feel comfortable in his role as lead vocalist. Despite predictions to the contrary, the new Genesis became bigger than ever, recording and touring the world non-stop. Then, as the 80s began, the band decided to take a rest.
Can we talk about my solo career? Is that all right? People say, so why did you first start doing a solo career? Why so late in your career? Or why did you first do an album? And really, I wish I could say, because I felt like it. Oh, did I miss again? I think I missed again. it was because my marriage broke up, you know, and suddenly I had the time, I had the inclination, I had all this, you know, things going on in my mind. I wanted to get out, and that was really why it started. Just as I thought I made it, you walk back into my life, just like you never left. I'm a very romantic person, very sentimental person, and I get upset when I think about things like the thing that happened to me. And when it happened to me, it was very strong. I'd known my wife since I was at school, and I have my son. As far as I was concerned, my whole life suddenly was in pieces. Take what you got and you leave. Oh, leave me alone, my heart. I'm putting the pieces back together again. It had a big effect on my life, and so I wrote. I had nothing else to do rather than channel my energies into learning how to operate my 8-track machine, which I had just bought, and sitting down and trying to, you know, put my energies into whatever I do. And the only thing I do is music. So I was writing, and the things that came out on face value are totally, it's like a diary, you know. And I'm not ashamed of that, I'm proud of that. The music I listen to and the music I like, generally speaking, is R&B. The 60s are part of my, well, are my history, you know, is my history, are my histories. We always get a couple of slow songs, a couple of ballads, and a couple of R&B type songs, a couple of moodier things, because that's the kind of things that I write. Well, this song is dedicated to all those perverts in the audience tonight. I can hear through these walls.
With 2 successful solo albums under his belt, there was no reason Collins had to return to Genesis, except that he wanted to.
I think I'd probably get bored doing just one thing. I mean, obviously my thing is the most important thing to me, if I had to make a choice, but fortunately no one ever asked me to make a choice.
After all you've been through in your life,
What your country can do for you.
With American sons in the field far away. I shall resign the presidency.
Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall.
1,000 points of light. After all you've been through, you deserve your own channel. VH1, when you've seen it all.
Phil Collins and Genesis in the air. All day today, only on VH1.
You don't want to sit next to Phil on a plane. It's embarrassing.
Strange. Very strange.
Phil actually likes airplane food.
I love the food.
Because it's free.
I got 2 of these tonight. I got 1 last night, 2 tonight. I got 2 bras last night and a shoe, and I got 3 extra bras tonight. So when I retire, it's a lingerie shop for me.
Phil Collins' rise to superstar status culminated with the release of his 3rd solo LP, No Jacket Required.
We spend vast amounts of money in hotel rooms, and they don't qualify you to drink in the bar and eat in the restaurant unless you have the right bloody jacket on. So this is my little dig. Hotel managers and restaurant owners all over the world. No Jacket was, to me, a more hotter album. It was very hot, dance-orientated, some songs.
Bolstered by 3 #1 songs, Collins launched a solo world tour.
I have something that I want to show you because this is quite extraordinary. Charlene, bring in the jacket. We send our clothes to the dry cleaners most days to get things washed or cleaned. But this stupid place that we sent it to in Lexington decided to wash the clothes. It doesn't fit quite as well as it used to. Nice, though it might be, it's made to measure for somebody, but definitely not me.
In all, No Jacket yielded 5 hit singles and earned just as many Grammy nominations.
Here we are, in downtown Los Angeles.
No jacket required, Phil Collins.
For an evening of gaiety and laughter.
Phil Collins.
Here's my ticket.
No jacket required, Phil Collins.
I think my mum would be proud of me tonight. My heart is going so fast now. Am I glad I bought this tux?
You never knew where Phil Collins would pop up next. He emerged on 2 movie soundtracks, playing drums with Robert Plant, and he also found time to add producing to his list of credits.
All I do as a producer is really direct the music into a certain direction that I like. You know, I sort of produce records that I like to listen to.
I know there's something going on.
Phil also produced former ABBA vocalist Frida.
I wanted it to be different. I wanted to sound different than I do in the work with ABBA. And I think he understood what I meant.
It wasn't a big, heavy business thing. We sat around and had a cup of tea with him, you know, he, Mark and myself. And before the song was written, we agreed to work together.
Who couldn't get along with Phil? He's wonderful.
And he also produced 2 albums for his good friend Eric Clapton.
I actually like his pace because he's not as reckless as people think he is in terms of speed. You know, he doesn't work that fast, he just works steady.
The big moments for me came the first guitar solo, or the first vocal, is how do you turn around to Eric and say, I mean, everything sounded good.
Good evening, America. Good evening, London, and good evening, the world.
Then on July 13th, 1985, Phil captured the world's attention by playing both Live Aid concerts in London and Philadelphia.
To me, it was a day of logistics, a day of getting somewhere and hurrying up to get somewhere.
Well, 9:45, I woke up English time.
I really didn't think I was going to be the only person doing it.
I just got up, got the kids breakfast, and then got in the car, dropped them off at my mum's place.
Originally, John Taylor and Simon Le Bon were going to do it because Power Station and Duran Duran were going to do the same thing.
We came to Wembley, and I did a few songs with Sting.
I'm a poor ex, with every step you take.
I got on Concorde.
Cher was on the plane. She didn't know what the fuss was about. She thought all the fuss was about her, I think.
Phil Collins is in that helicopter.
I wanted to come and play with Eric. And I did my 2 songs that I know.
You're the only one who really knew me at all.
I wanted to play with Robert and Jimmy, and I played with them. That's what your time is for, isn't it? To use it up doing silly things like this.
It was really one of those things that just happened. I mean, it wasn't a career move. It wasn't planned.
Well, this is the other song that I know on the piano.
Phil's numerous benefit appearances always featured the same haunting song, whose meaning has been debated for years.
I can feel it coming in the air tonight. Oh, Lord.
I don't know what it's about. The lyrics to that song were improvised. That was one of the first songs that I kind of wrote in my face value batch. And I just had a drum machine pattern and a keyboard. And I just opened my mouth and sang, you know. And what you hear came out, apart from maybe 1 or 2 lines. So when people say, did you actually witness a drowning and not help anybody? Did you actually see someone die? You know, no, I didn't. And I've never seen anybody die.
But I know the reason why you
recently, I only could play a couple of songs that sounded good on my own. In the Air, fortunately, was a song that I actually did at the Secret Policeman's Other Ball way back. And that sounds, I thought, I'm going to try playing this on my own, you know. And instead of doing the big drum break on In the Air, I stopped. And everyone in the audience went, da-da, 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 da-da. It was a great night for me. I mean, I thought, God, I can play this on my own. And really, I mean, Townsend said to me, he said, I don't believe you're not going to play that bloody song again, are you? You know? And I said, that's anyone I know, really, but I can play and sounds good. And at Live Aid, I did it the same thing twice, you know. And I got it right the second time as well, which is probably why I did it twice.
This funny? I've seen this done before, and people have laughed at it. Does that mean it's funny? I don't know. I'm asking. Are you laughing right now? Or would you laugh if I did this? Am I funny now? I mean, if I'm appearing on HOP, a new TV comedy network that shows nothing but great TV comedy 24 hours a day, shouldn't I have some idea whether this is funny? Well, I don't know. I'm asking.
Get high as part of your basic cable service. Call your local cable company now.
I was watching it last night, My Generation, and with a friend of mine who is who's now probably 41, getting ready to get married. And we were just watching it and reminiscing.
I like a little bit of everything. VH1 has a little bit of everything.
Phil's not a bad drummer.
No comment.
He's all we could get.
One rule, you never mention Phil's hair.
I reckon Phil's only got 6 months before he's completely bald.
Well, I've deliberately tried to back off, you know, because I don't want to piss people off.
For a man who's been trying to back off, Phil Collins has a habit of turning up everywhere. First, he rejoined Genesis for the immensely successful Invisible Touch album and world tour. He teamed up again with his pal Eric Clapton, this time not as producer, but as a drummer on Clapton's tour.
In a white room with black curtains by the station.
It was just too good to miss playing behind him, because he is really the best guitar player I've ever played with in the world. He's a wonderful guitar player.
You don't know like I know.
Another of Phil's heroes is R&B singer Sam Moore, with whom he had the chance to perform at the Atlantic Records 40th anniversary concert.
That's the way it's supposed to be.
That was a highlight of my career. A lot of people would think Live Aid or something's a highlight. Well, that was definitely up there with it, you know.
He also amused audiences with his appearance as Uncle Ernie in The Who's 1989 Tommy concerts.
Your father left me in a monsoon. Now I'm doing what I want to.
No one saw me before I went on. And when I walked on stage, dragging one leg behind me with the wine bottle, the look on Townsend's face was just worth every minute.
More controversial was his participation with Genesis in a highly visible beer commercial.
Well, I don't know. You get involved with whatever you think is decent. And, you know, to some extent, you know, you don't think you're selling your soul. We were one of the first sort of bands to sort of get involved with sponsorship on a tour to try and keep the ticket price down. That was the idea originally. When I actually got recognized in various elevators all across America by 55, 65-year-old men, sort of, hey, you're the guy in the beer commercial. We did it, we've done it, been there, done that, do something else, you know. I mean, I don't feel bad about having done it. I think there was a tendency for people to start putting me as Mr. Showbiz.
When he was younger, Phil had done a little acting, on stage as the Artful Dodger in Oliver Twist, as well as in several films, including a fabled appearance in the Beatles' A Hard Day's Night. I got a call along with a lot of my friends to turn up at the Scala Theatre, which is no longer there in London, to scream at the Beatles and get paid for it. And that's really what we all did for a whole day, you know. It's great. And I've looked for me in the film, but I've never seen me. The acting career was revived when an offer came from Miami Vice.
They asked me to do it, and they sent a script, and I looked at it, and I said, God, this is a big part, man. I can't do this. And they said, don't worry about it, just come, just learn whatever you want to learn. It was very loose.
Absolutely correct!
And I thought, God, this is great fun. I haven't, you know, this is better than what I remember it was when I was a kid. And I thought, well, I want to do some more of this.
And his movie debut as an adult came with the release of Buster.
I'm not a traditional leading man. I'm not your chiseled Sting, Simon Le Bon character, you know? So therefore, maybe it's easier for me to, and I don't mind making myself look kind of stupid. And I actually got good reviews for my acting, which is, I breathed a sigh of relief. And I didn't realise it was such a gamble as it turned out to be. I mean, I just did it because I wanted to do it, and I really want to investigate that a lot more. So really what I wanted to try and do with this album was to try and bring people back in and say, hey, this is what I do. You know, I'm a drummer, I write songs, and I sing them. And sometimes they're about things that aren't just, you know, relationships and love.
She calls out to the man on the street. Sir, can you help me?
I'm not offering any solutions to this problem of homelessness. I'm just saying we should all be aware of it and maybe not cross over the street when we see something.
Think twice. It's another day for you and me in paradise.
We, as individuals, I think we tend to either ignore it, pretend it will go away, or we have a very awkward relationship with it. And the song is really about that awkwardness and people dealing with it.
Phil's fourth solo album included another guest appearance from old pal Eric Clapton.
I asked him to play on it, and he actually did say to me, he said, it's about time. You asked me to play on one of your albums. Don't you like my playing?
I don't know why.
Collins also enlisted the help of David Crosby.
It sounds silly, doesn't it? Crosby, Stills, Nash are probably one of the biggest American bands. But Dave Crosby on his own, with all his history, probably doesn't mean that much to a lot of people. And I really want to try and make people think about him again, you know, because he's got a great voice, and he really is a one-off.
That's the way it is.
That's Just the Way It Is it's one of my best songs, I think, and it's a very strong sort of statement about the fact that how cheap life is becoming, you know. People are just, they're being blown away for no apparent reason.
There's nothing I can do. That's just the way it is.
So how does it end? Music was what I wanted to do from the age of 5, really. I mean, seriously, from the age of 12, 13. But I was playing drums since I was 5 years old. If I was just doing my solo career, I think I'd get bored with it. You know, I'd dry up, probably. But I am fundamentally a drummer, although I actually do love singing and songwriting. Well, as a singer, I'd say I'm, you know, modest legend.
VH1's Artist Spotlight.
5.